Guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, especially if you love MMA as much as I do. I was going to do this video tomorrow, but I said screw it, I'll do it right now. Shout out to the man himself, El Guapo, Bas Rutten. One of my favorite fighters of all time, actually. As you all know, I'm a big UFC fan. I used to watch it when I was a little kid. I was born in 95. I remember Maurice Smith, and I remember Randy Couture. I remember Mark Coleman, all those guys. Excuse me. Bas Rutten, I'm tagging you in this because I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. But I want to see if you agreed with it. Or if you didn't agree with it or talk about it publicly. Maybe you sit there thinking, it's cool, a kid like that remembers me as a fighter and remembers a fight that could have happened years ago. And I'm glad he talked about it because it shows respect to our history of the fighters. And that's what this is about, you know. As you all know, I've been making videos about previous fights that could have happened but never happened. Or if they did happen, how would it go down? This fight was actually supposed to happen in 1998. I think it was UFC Brazil or UFC 17 or whenever it was. Maybe both times. I don't know. Randy Couture was the UFC heavyweight champion at the time. This was before he actually developed his boxing skills like they were as a complete mixed martial artist as far as his whole skill set as he had in 2000, 2001. He's still a little raw as an MMA fighter, but he was pretty darn good. Coming off wins over Belfort and Maurice Smith. He was trying to have his first title defense, but I think he had contract problems, so this fight never happened. Bas Rutten was fighting at Pancrase, was already established himself as a legit mixed martial artist, killing machine, knocked people out, submitted people. He had already beaten Maurice Smith twice, Frank Shamrock twice. He's beaten a lot of guys, and he's marketable. He makes a lot of money, I think, or whatever it was, besides his skill set. So the UFC really wanted this fight, but Randy never fought him over a contract, and they eventually took his title away. Then they had this whole road to the heavyweight title thing involving Bas Rutten. Eventually, he won the title. So let's talk about what would have happened if he fought Randy Couture. During this time, Couture was primarily a wrestler. He had some boxing. He was a pressure fighter. Bas Rutten, very good kickboxer, but he was good with submissions. If these guys would have actually fought at that time, you know me, I normally pick the grappler. But I feel like Randy Couture would have lost this fight. And I'll tell you why. When he wasn't fighting in the UFC, he had lost 2 fights in a row after that. And he lost by submission both times. I think even if he would have took Bas Rutten down, he would have got caught in a knee bar or a guillotine choke or some kind of submission, and he would have lost pretty easily probably. And even if they would have been standing, I don't think Couture would have been able to get close enough without getting knocked out with a head kick or something crazy, those palm strikes that Bas Rutten likes to do. So possible win if he would have held Bas Rutten against the cage and manhandled him, because I think his wrestling was better. But the thing is, Bas Rutten was just on a roll back then. He was winning like crazy. He was finishing people however he wanted at the time. And he was just, I think at the time, a better MMA fighter. He had more skills to win the fight that Randy Couture did. Now, if they would have fought in 2001, 2002 when Couture was at his peak, might have been a little different. I think anybody would admit that. But I would have picked Bas Rutten back then just because of the skills and the ways he had to win that fight. So, round time, probably pretty quickly, actually. I think Bas Rutten would have won that fight within the first 3-4 minutes of a 5-round fight or a 3-round fight. Maybe early second round. But Bas Rutten would have won that fight, probably.